Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am back with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so it'll let you know when my next video goes down. We're gonna be talking about something real fast, real quick, because I'm not gonna be on this live stream that long, and we're gonna be talking about a topic that was trending on social media. A lot of radio jocks, a lot of podcasts, a lot of quote-unquote hip-hop historians talked about it, and it's the 50 greatest rappers of all time. First of all, I want to say this: if you haven't heard any of the material of any of the 50 greatest rappers of all time, then you should not be attending to do this list. I think a lot of people, when they was talking about the actual list, people started creating their own list of the 50 greatest rappers of all time. Secondly, I'm only talking about the original list itself. I see a lot of flaws in this list, and you really don't know what the criteria was. Was it album sales, single sales? How much in the hip hop culture did that artist impact in that era? Are you talking about the lyrics in themselves? Because I have heard a lot of amazing artists who flowed a lot of incredible lyrics that to me should be nominated and should have been actually, particularly in the top 10 and top 20, that I saw fall as far as 20. Now, first thing I want to do, I'm going to tell y'all the flaws, okay? Number one, Joe Budden, number 3, all right? Clearly, this is an individual who created this list that, is probably in their early 30s and probably can identify more, or probably in their 20s, can probably identify with Joe Budden more, because Joe Budden is still irrelevant to them. Okay, he's got a very successful podcast. He still is on Love and Hip Hop, and he's also been on Complex Everyday Struggle, and I think those contributions are the reason why he is the 3rd best rapper of all time. Now, when you look at Joe Budden's work, okay, I'm not talking about hit singles and albums or anything like that. When you actually look at the content, his lyrics, I think he has some amazing, solid lyrics, but I don't consider him in the top 5. I don't even consider him in the top 10. He may be hovering around the top 30. Okay. No rock. I mean, if you don't have a list in your top 10, if these artists are not in your top 10, the majority of them are not in your top 10, then you have a flawed list. Okay. And I'm gonna talk about the artists I felt like that should have been at least in the top 5, top 10 a little bit later. I think they had Drake 14, and no disrespect to Drake, made when you talk about his contributions to hip hop, he has really contributed. When you look at the body of work of Drake, particularly his hit singles, he make a lot of amazing hit singles. Okay, but of those hit singles, how much of them are actually his? He's always, when you talk about his name is always surrounded by ghostwriters, and he has no problem with. And if you're gonna put Drake 14, then you might as well put Diddy in the top 50 greatest rappers of all time. In my opinion, Drake nor Diddy should not even be in top 50. Okay, that's just my opinion. And the reason why I say that, if you look at them as producers, they are the greatest producers, particularly in hip hop music. How they can transcend their craft into rap, hardcore rap, When you talk about man, that car speeding like there's no tomorrow. When you talk about in rap, how they cross over into pop, how they cross over to R&B, how they cross over into so many different genres. When you talk about them selling out, particularly on concerts, the magnitude of these people, all the whole 9 yards. So they do contribute into hip hop culture. I just don't consider them, great rappers. All right. Third thing that I notice about this list is, to me personally, you mean to tell me out of the top 10, a Foxy Brown can't get any love? You mean to tell me in the top 10, a Little Kim can't get any love? And I would say Nicki Minaj, but now her name is synonymous to ghostwriting. Safari claimed that, he wrote some of her lyrics on her on the Pink print. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. And there have been other people that have stepped up, say that they have written for Nicki Minaj as well. Okay, Lil Wayne is not even in the top 10. You don't think Scarface is not nowhere in the top 10? Coogee Rap, even Rakim was there, but I felt like Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One. If you make a top 50 list, if you don't have DMX, Rakim, Coogee Rap, I mean, if you just don't have just those guys, if you don't even have a Little Kim, a Foxy Brown, if you don't, Lauryn Hill, even though Lauryn Hill, sings, the fact that she's a great rapper, she spits, she bodied the other members of the Fugees. She was the Fugees, okay? And when she did her own work on her own solo joint, there was a lot of songs on there that would be considered R&B. But you're not even going to consider Lauryn Hill? I think Lauryn Hill birthed a lot of these rappers that you see today that can not only spit flow, but can harmonize, that can, sing a little bit, okay? The one thing back in my era, and we seen rappers that can also rap as well as do melodies, and they do it quite very successful. But nowadays, I can't even think of there's a lot of people, even a lot of these new rappers. You mean to tell me none of those new rappers could break into the top 20? So to me, I felt like the list was flawed, and I felt like it didn't do a lot of people a lot of justice. Rappers in the past, present, and when you look at what's going on in today's hip hop, even though a lot of old heads do not like the music that is generating now, they don't really consider it. I still consider it hip hop. I just think you really can't compare eras, okay? Like when people always make this debate, who was the better basketball player, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? And I always walk up to them like, not only they're two different players, but they play in two different positions. They play in two different eras, So to sit up there and to say LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan is kind of laughable. What's up, man? But when you talk about hip hop, you have to understand that you have to take in consideration there was a lot of amazing artists in the past that was not recognized. I had an issue with them being in the top 10. I thought the list was flawed itself. No DMX in this actual list, okay? Well, I tell you why. Because the majority of the people who watch my videos, they watch the rerun. Okay, so just I might gain 5 or 10 views on the live stream. That don't necessarily mean when the day's over with or the week's over with, only generated 5 views. Sometimes I generate more than. Sometimes I do 50. Sometimes, if you look at if you look, I mean, all you gotta do is just look at my. If you don't have to believe me, all you gotta do is look at my videos, my popular videos. And some of my popular videos are not even live streams. But I mean, you asked, dude. I'm giving you a question. Sorry, dude. Troll on. But the proof is in the pudding. I have no have no issues of lying. But let's get back into what I was talking about. I felt like this list was flawed, and I felt like they did a disservice to the female rappers out there. There's a lot of female rappers that I feel like that can body a lot of these male rappers, and I don't understand why they were not even in the list. Even though DMX earlier work, his first 2 albums, if you really paid attention to his lyrics, he really had content, substance in his lyrics. Before his later work, you could clearly tell that it was lackadaisical. He was fighting demons, he was fighting demons. So, you have to, take it. You have to not be too critical of his later work. But I still felt like he should have been in. If you're not gonna put him in the top 30, he should have been somewhere like in the top. Something like 40. Not to mention him in the top 50 greatest rappers of all time is insulting. Okay, and when he was doing it, a lot of people seem to forget that in that era, in that time span, it was hard for New York rappers to get a buzz, because now the music, instead of just being on two coasts, West Coast, East Coast, now you was getting all types of music from the South, the Midwest. You're getting different type of influences from different types of work, and now hip hop is worldwide. Okay, it's not the best rapper in New York. It's not the best rapper in the West Coast. In that era, DMX, was like the last of New York rappers that New York fans were championed for. It was getting so bad in New York that New York rappers had to get out of New York and find deals elsewhere. Okay. Like Little C's, like he wasn't mentioned. I mean, he was mentioned, but it was like a little bit later. And shoot, Gangstar, can't think of the guy's name in Gangstar. I mean, there was a lot of flaws in this list, and I felt like this list really didn't do justice for for actual hip hop culture. And then people try to revamp it and do the list. I think Joe Budden said that he's going to do a top 100. I mean, why not a top 200? Why not a top 1,000? I mean, I felt like this. Of course, Jay-Z was on the list. He should have been on the list. I have no issues with Jay-Z, but Rakim. I mean, there's a lot of rappers that a lot of people, and I felt like a lot of the new artists should have been on the list as well. There have been a lot of artists today that are breaking the foundation, breaking the mold of hip hop, and evolving it each and every day. And I had a thought, and I was getting ready to explain it to the live stream, but something happened. We had a troll, but that's fine, that's cool. But he lost my train of thought. I was going to mention three guys that are killing it on the mic today. And even though a lot of people, really don't like to, a lot of hip hop older heads don't like the music that's today. I still think that there's a lot of young cats out there that's championing the torch for hip hop. I just think hip hop has done decoded, revamped and rechanged in a way that than what Curtis Blow did on the breaks, than what KRS-One did on the Bridge Is Over, and Lil Wayne. Where was Lil Wayne on this list? you know I mean, and at the end of the day, it's not an official list for hip hop. It's not. It's just something somebody thought that would have been a trending topic, and it was trending. And I just wanted to tell you guys, the actual list, I'm only reviewing that. I see a lot of flaws in it, and the positioning of certain rappers. Even though, I I like where they got Big at, the position they had Big. Um, Pac, even though they had him at 14, you can agree to disagree with Pac, but I felt like a lot of people, when they review Pac's work, they only review the Death Row, the Machiavelli stuff. They don't look at or understand that Pac made much more detailed and deeper music before he signed with Death Row. And people, really don't listen to that Pac. They don't listen to the All Eyes on Me, the Machiavelli, and billions upon billions of mixtapes of Pac, of his, work that was not published, and then they gravitate to that type of work, and then they say, well, Pac wasn't really a good lyrical MC. But if you look at, the stuff that, like, Trap Brenda Has a Baby, Dear Mama, when you look at so many tears, I mean, Pac, I just think Pac is one of those rappers that is misunderstood, and people look at the work, with All Eyes on Me and after. They don't look at what's behind. I mean, before that. Okay, I think Big. I felt like Big. His last two albums, which really the only two albums he was able to create before he passed away. Rest in peace to him. But I felt like Big. He was when you look at a lot. I mean, when you look at Big on his height, if Big was still alive, you'll have to go back and think. A lot of rappers wouldn't have the longevity or the long career in hip hop if Big was still alive. Because remember, when Big was big, a lot of rappers were threatened by his success, and a lot of rappers, I mean, it's just a tragic, we didn't really get all the best of Big. That's basically what I'm saying. But Rakim, Microphone Fiend, the Letter of the R, the Wu-Tang Clan, some of the members of them, Ghostface Killer, Method Man. I mean, I can go on and on and on with this, but it is what it is. So, I just wanted to comment on that, tell you guys, you chime in, tell me what you think. Guys, tell me what you think, rate, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys probably tomorrow. If something breaks, exciting, probably tomorrow. But if not, see you when I see you. It's your boy, and I'm out. Deuces.